can we talk about Pete Carroll, please? Because you're talking about candidate number 3, 4, and 5. It is official. The Bears met with Pete Carroll, and I've been sitting on this for a couple of days now as to why I think that Pete Carroll actually threads the needle the best for what the Bears are looking for. Don't worry about his 73-year-old age either. I know that's the first thing that everyone wants to talk about. Dude's got more energy than all of us combined, guys. I mean, come on. Have you ever watched Pete Carroll up and down the sidelines? He's top 5 energetic coach in the history of college football in the NFL, where he's, of course, won a Super Bowl, Rose Bowls, national championships, the whole thing. I mean, 14 seasons in the NFL, Jets, New England, Seattle. Everybody, of course, talks about the Seattle tenure, but he's, just remember 3 of them. He's got 4 seasons, or 18 seasons, 14 of them over 500, 4 under 500, okay? And to me, what's most interesting when you think about his tenure is you go back to Russell Wilson. And if you remember, it's different from what we have here with the number 1 overall pick in Caleb. But Russell was a 3rd-round pick. They had gone out that year, signed Matt Flynn after he had 5 seconds of success with the Packers, gave him a $26 million contract. The dude never started a game for Seattle, if you remember back. And he's like, yeah, that guy, rookie, play him in the preseason. Let's go win a Super Bowl with him the next year. As a rookie, Russ was 26 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, and then they win a playoff game, losing the division round, and then next year they're winning the Super Bowl. So outside of as for somebody who understands offense, for someone who understands leadership, for somebody who's done it and could command respect, for someone who would also do his own thing and not get swept up in the Bearsdom, as for you're Matt Campbell or just random, Pete Carroll would know what the hell he's doing day one in here, would command respect. He's I get it, the age, but there's a lot of success there. There's a fire in that guy's belly always. If you took out the 73 part of him and made him 53, he would be right at the top. He'd be the Vrabel. He'd be right there. And so he's only getting disqualified because of that, which, hey, man, people are living longer. This guy keeps himself in shape. He doesn't need to be here for a decade. Let him have a 5-year run, hand it off to his OC, and we're good.
So when it comes to the age thing, I think it's a complicated conversation. One is, first of all, I generally don't care that he's 73 from a disqualifying standpoint. The Bears, I don't know if you know this, don't keep coaches more than 3 to 4 years anyway.
Right.
So, if the problem is they win for 5 years and he needs to retire because of his health or something like that, great. Then you won some games, and that would be a change because this team doesn't win games. However, what I think the conversation really needs to be more about is not about what a guy's age is, but how does he fit in today's game of football? Is he still an innovator? Can he stay ahead of the game? Can he scheme at his age against, how old's Ben Johnson? 39?
6. Well, hold on, let me double check that.
No, he's not 36. He's not 36. I forget his age.
I think I just got confused with when they
38.
Mark
38,
yeah.
right? So now he's going to be more of the CEO type head coach at this point in his career, but then that also becomes a question of who can he hire? Who is his staff? He struggled to hire the right OCs towards the end of his time there in Seattle. And I think that became a frustration and a reason why he lost his job. Now, on the other hand, like you say, yeah, this guy hired Shane Waldron too. That's a problem. Mm-hmm. They actually weren't that bad with Shane Waldron though. Like they were top 10 offensively and got some production with Geno Smith. So all these things are complicated. I don't know that I would describe Pete Carroll as an innovator anymore. So does he bring a baseline that raises your floor in the similar way that John Fox did? Yeah, but the question is, can he do more than what John Fox did? Now, the roster's in a little bit of a different spot. That was a complete teardown with John Fox, and I don't think he ever really had a ton of talent. I don't know. I think they would win more games with Pete Carroll. I don't necessarily believe they would go to a Super Bowl.
You go ahead, Brex.
Yeah, I just think it's the same philosophy I held with Bill Belichick. Maybe not to the same extreme, because I really believe in the way Bill Belichick, his attention to detail, and the way he's going to command a room and command a place like Hallis Hall that needs commanding. I believe in that. I don't care how old he is. And that same goes for Pete Carroll. I've said from the start that it is important for the next coach that comes in here to have a certain level of cachet and confidence that says, no, we're going to do things my way. We're not going to do it your way, because your way hasn't worked for decades. And so we're going to listen to what I'm trying to do, or I'm not coming here. And Pete Carroll has that kind of cachet to be able to say something like that. Whereas some of these other guys that are, being interviewed, they don't, and are just going to take a job that's offered to them. So that at the same time, he's a defensive coordinator, right? He's a defensive head coach, from a philosophy standpoint. He did once hire Shane Waldron. So, but he also, like by the end of it, I don't know if he would have kept Shane Waldron by it, but like that's a red flag. If you're hiring Shane Waldron, I don't care what kind of success they had here. We know what kind of success he had here, and it was brutal. But at the same time, I could trust that his coaching tree, he'd be able to find somebody as an OC, but I certainly would like to know who that is if I'm signing up for that deal. But they could do worse if you start getting into that second tier. And to the age standpoint, I agree with Hoge. If we're talking about, it was the same argument I made with Belichick. Well, what are we going to do in 4 years? If it works out, I don't care. Let's let it work out for the next 4 years, if that's what you're telling me. And if you got to get rid of them and now you have to make an adjustment to your coaching staff, well, at least you've got this train back on the tracks, because that's what the immediate, necessary need is for this team.
Also, the next 3-4 years are crucial.
Crucial.
Those are the years you develop Caleb. So
exactly.
like even I could be sold in if I knew that the staff was good and I felt really great about who he's hiring to work with Caleb, and I'm like, okay, I know that for the next 3 years we're going to be a competent organization, we're going to win some games, and Caleb's going to be in a good place. But he's telling me right now, as we're hiring him, that no matter what, he's retiring at the end of his 3rd season. I'd probably still sign up for it.
We can force him into an advisory role after that.
It just looks, I think you have to be realistic in what's going to happen here. Everyone thinks Vrabel's going to the Patriots, right? And are the Bears and Ben Johnson going to find common ground here? I'm still, if I had to bet my life on what's going to happen, I think that they will, but it's at best 51%, right? If I'm just leaning into that, and also because no other candidate jumps out at me as to who they would hire. So I'm going to, people ask me, who do I think it's going to be? I'm going to say Ben, because I have no idea after that point. I think they're going to try, but the big thing is, are they ever going to get on the same wavelength? But let's just say that they don't add up, and Ben decides to go elsewhere. Well, who excites you? Like, where what you're going to get. I mean, I can hear I can hear Brian Flores for sure in that conversation, but when you start going deeper down the second tier here, to me, Carroll rises very quickly to the top of that.
If you're talking about second tier, he's at the top of the second tier.
We all silly like the mayor.